today we've got a guest who is 21-year-old, Anupriya Nagar. She's navigating her path as a student, also producing a spiritual epic.
Hanuman Ansh. Hanumanji is the monkey god, 11th avatar of Shivji. And as Neem Karoli Baba is the greatest bhakt of Hanumanji, that's how we title. So recently I had visited Vrindavan and I got the opportunity to read Premanand Maharaj. Each and everything that he was talking about, you have great responsibility, you have to, you can't add any bit of drama to it, you have to tell the true story, you can't
Not
snake.
showing them in a bad light or
Absolutely.
it's a big responsibility. So have you been to Kainchi Dham? How was your experience?
I honestly can't even explain because the second I entered, and they say that 25,000 people come every day. I was literally standing in front of Baba for 5 minutes and I was levitating.
I've heard a lot of spiritual movie has some divine blessings. So tell us any interesting stories about Hanuman Ansh and what did you felt about Baba's blessings in the movie? Yeah.
There's a beautiful shot. When you guys will see it, you will have goosebumps. I mean, I still get goosebumps when I watch it. And there is presence of that monkey behind with the bandaras, sabji.
Krishna Das. How did you reach out and how did you convince him to be part of this movie?
His chants are, they have this aura.
Yeah.
Like a 20-second scene in my film, with and without his chant. And there's a great difference. I just see this picture hanging with Hanumanji at the back of it. And I froze. First, I thought I was hallucinating.
If you're an Indian student navigating your path for studies, running on 4 hours sleep, and feeling the immense pressure to make your family proud, I need you to pause because today we've got a guest who is 21-year-old, Anupriya Nagar. She's navigating her path as a student, also producing a spiritual epic. So let's welcome Anupriya Nagar to Global Desi. Anupriya, welcome to Global Desi Podcast. How are you today?
Namaste. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. So tell me about your student life. Where did you graduated from, and what inspired you to produce a movie? And tell us more about your movie. Let's hear from you.
Yes, of course. So, I've studied economics for 3 years at the University of Bath, and my experience has been more than just academics. I have gotten the opportunity to represent my country on a national level.
Wow.
In dance.
In dance.
Yeah,
What kind of dance?
Bollywood dance. So
Alright.
there is this competition called Just Bollywood, and they raise funds for charity.
Mhm.
Um, and not just that, but I was also leading the Raising a Society, and we raised funds for 4 charities, and it's been a very fulfilling journey for me. But I've always been towards the creative side. I've always have some fond connection with art. I've been an artist myself for over a decade.
What kind of art, if I may ask?
I do more of the nature drawing.
Nice.
So I used to love just picking up, flowers or fruits. My mom used to get annoyed. I just used to plant oranges, and he used to put it in front of me, and I used to see the shadow. Um, but yeah, I've been really fond of art. I've been really fond of dance as well. So all of that comes together. I've been a part of some plays in my school days. So all of this just came together, and I felt like being away from home, in the UK, I sort of craved for that cultural connection and that sense of belonging. And I was so glad that a very a small community was built. A mandir was built in Bath, and I had the opportunity to go and celebrate festivals over there, from Holi to Diwali, Janmashtami to Independence Day. It's been a very surreal experience, and all of that just kept building up. And then once uni got over, I graduated last year in July. I was supposed to be going abroad to Switzerland for work. And I just came across the fact, being a Gen Z, I have grown around the entire Apple ecosystem. So I came across the fact that Steve Jobs was actually the one who was inspired by Neem Karoli Baba. And that just hit me because I thought that how could
A Western tech
yes,
entrepreneur
exactly, being
inspired by a Indian guru.
insane.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So I just dug deeper and deeper. I read a lot of books about him, Miracle of Love, watched a lot of YouTube videos, and then I came across the fact that Mark Zuckerberg was also influenced, Julia Roberts, all the big names. And then I felt that a lot of foreigners were following Baba. And when I spoke about it to some of my friends or some
Indian
relatives,
friends.
Indian
Right.
friends, they didn't know, they didn't
Right.
hear about
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
And,
yeah, yeah.
and I kind of felt that that his story is supposed to be told
Mm.
to a lot of Indians, but also worldwide because of the mystical being that he is. And that's when I thought that, okay, I need to do something about it. And I reached out to Ragni Auntie Ji, who is one of our producers. She's incredible. She has a great creative vision. She has produced a lot of films, including Chocolate as well. So I was like, what can we do about this? And then she introduced me to Vishal Chaturvedi ji, who has written and directed the film. And then I also
And what is the movie called? Can you tell us
yeah.
the name of the
So it's titled Hanuman Ansh.
Hanuman
Hanuman
Ansh?
Ansh.
Art of Hanuman.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So Hanumanji is the monkey god, 11th avatar of Shivji. And as Neem Karoli Baba is the greatest bhakt of
Hanuman.
Hanumanji, that's how we titled him Hanuman, titled the film Hanuman Ansh. And it's a trilogy, so this is the first of the three. And this covers his life from the age of 14 when he leaves his family. And then he goes on to establish Hanuman, idols everywhere he goes in up north in UP, and then later on he goes to Nainital, and then later on he goes to Ketchutam as well. So it there are so many stories to be told, and we still feel that three films is too short.
You're producing 3 trilogy of oh nice.
Yeah.
So
So this is the first part. There is still more to come, and we're very excited, and we've poured our heart and soul into this.
I'm
And
sure everyone will like it.
yes, absolutely. And I feel like it's we have to carry this with some sort of discipline. We have a lot of responsibility on us. So recently I had visited Vrindavan, and I got the opportunity to meet Premanand Maharaj.
Oh yeah, I saw that video. Yeah, it's amazing.
And I feel truly blessed that we got to interact with him, and each and everything that he was talking about. You have great responsibility. You have to you can't add any bit of drama to it. You have to tell the true story. You can't
Not
snake
showing them in a bad light or
absolutely.
it's a big responsibility. I understand. So tell me, Anupriya, so was there spirituality in your family
Hmm.
when you were a child? Did your parents used to do some rituals or recite mantras? So how did your upbringing, what connected you? You told me that once you came abroad to study in Bath, University of Bath, you missed that Indian connection, that spiritual connection, and that quest led you to discover the Indian festival, about Neem Karoli Baba, and the spiritual Hindu spiritual connection. So tell us, take us back to your childhood, and was there spirituality at your home? And did you learn any mantras or anything about it? Yeah. Okay.
So I've grown up in a very spiritually rich environment, at home and also at my school. I studied at Arya Vidya Mandir, and we
Mumbai.
in Mumbai.
Okay.
And we used to recite this mantra every Wednesday.
Sure.
And back when I was a child, I used to think, every Wednesday, you're like any child. But now when I look back, I
You should
framed
relate
it.
it, yeah.
Yeah, I relate, and it is embedded in me. If you even wake me up, I can say it. And I really thank my school and my teachers to inculcate that and us in the values that they've inculcated in me. And some of these beautiful memories that I have is especially celebrating Ganpati. Ganesh
This is
is
big in Mumbai and
yeah,
Maharashtra, isn't it?
it's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's
Yeah.
it's on a different magnitude altogether. And ever since I was a child, we've been celebrating Ganpati, and we bring it for 1.5 days. And my brother and I, we always try to tell mom that can we get it for 5 days or 7 days, you know. But you know, always when we bring him, the rituals that we have, and the Panditji when he used to come. So my brother and I, we've studied in the same school, so we used to love reciting those.
Can you tell us what that mantra was? Can we do it?
Of course, of course.
Let's do it.
So I'll recite a mantra, which is the Sandhya mantra. It talks about um all the parts of your body, and it's in Sanskrit. So I'll just recite
Sure.
a bit of it.
Sure.
Om Shanno Devi Rabishtaya Apo Bhavantu Bhitaye Shanyo Rabishtavantu Naha Om Vak Vak Om Prana Prana Om Chakshu Chakshu Om Shotram Shotram Om Nabhir Om Hridayam Om Kantha Om Shirah Om Bahubhyaya Shobalam Om Karta Katishte Om Buha Punatu Shirasi Om Buha Punatu Netrayo Om Swaha Punatu Kanthe Om Maha Punatu Hridaye Om Jana Punatu Nabhyam Om Tapa Punatu Padayo Om Satyam Punatu Punashirasi Om Khabram Punatu Sabadram Om Bhu Om Bhua Om Swaha Om Maha Om Jana Om Tapa Om Satyam Om Ritam Cha Satyam Cha Vidya Tapaso Dajayata Tato Ratrajayata Tato Samnitro Arnavaha. So this is just a small part of it.
I mean, I personally get mesmerized with Sanskrit. I've learned a little bit of Sanskrit. I recite mantra as well. And I heard a podcast with a lot of Sanskrit scholars. I don't know if you know Gaia. She's a British born lady, English lady, and she sings in Sanskrit. She released so many albums in Sanskrit language, mantras, and a lot of songs. So go and search for her on YouTube. I've interviewed her, and you know, in London, in St. James School, they teach Sanskrit. So I think Sanskrit is, in my view, is one of the most advanced language.
Mother of all languages.
Yeah, mother of all languages. So yeah, it was beautiful.
Beautiful. And so I have learned a couple of languages myself. I've got the opportunity to. I've done French, German, and Sanskrit as well. But uh, when I was learning these languages, I always fell back to Sanskrit. I was like, there's so much that has been taken from this language,
Yeah.
and then so many other languages have been developed. So it's a beautiful, very beautiful language.
Amazing. So now, coming back to your student life, I imagine that most of people of your age on a Friday evening, they go out to pub and club to party, and you are working on a spiritual epic. So how do you balance that, being part of the, community or your friend circle who are partying, and you're working on a spiritual epic, and as you mentioned, it's a responsibility as well. So you need to put a lot of effort and time to produce this. So how do you balance it, and how do your friend react to you when you mention that you're working on a Hindu epic or a spiritual epic? So tell us more about
Oh,
it.
that's a beautiful question, because there are certain things that I personally battle with, um, and this is probably the first time that I'm talking about it. Um, Regarding balancing my life, I generally do not judge the people who would go party or would go into spirituality. Everyone has a choice, you know. Either you do Rambaho or you do Sitara. So I chose to do that. I chose to recite my mantras. I decided to believe in surrendering, and this is one of Baba's beautiful teachings. Then you work with honesty, with your greatest intent, and then you surrender and believe in God. And this is something that I have witnessed myself, so I keep believing and I keep going back to it. Um, and you know, I have visited the ISKCON temple in Watford.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful temple. It's the Beatles.
Do you know who it was in the land?
Yes, the Beatles, and hearing all of this just inspires me more and more. And I've always made sure that every year I would try to go at least like once or twice. to Iskon Temple, and just seeing all of these stories, it motivates me, and I honestly, it's not a balance for me. It's just a way of living for me at this point. But regarding my friends' reactions, so I think everyone has different opinions. And first, when I told them that I'm working on such an amazing project, they did not understand it quite well.
Right.
A that spirituality to them was a little distant, I guess. Because the Gen Z are very disconnected, in this generation. And second is that they didn't know much about it, right?
So their
But
conscious level is not as wide as yours. So probably they are not at that level to
yeah,
understand what you feel it,
absolutely.
or yeah, what you
Yeah.
experience it. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And it has also taken me time to understand spirituality, to understand this project. And I honestly, they would also take time. And then it was so lovely to see their curiosity, them, coming up with questions and stuff. And I felt amazing, going back to them and answering to them, because eventually my motto is to spread Baba's teachings,
Yeah.
and his stories, and to everyone, through from people in India to abroad. So whether it be through a book, or a film, or just
Yeah.
having a conversation,
Sure.
even the people watching this podcast.
Yeah.
So it's just that through different mediums, and I used to love explaining to them with a lot of passion,
Mm.
the stories of Baba. And later on, they came to understand it, and they're enjoying the stories that I tell them. One of my friends also started reading the book Miracles of Love, and they are supporting me, and they're so sweet, and they're really looking forward, and they're putting their level best in
That's really good.
making this
Yeah.
reach to a lot of people around us.
So, what I understand, most of your Gen Z generation are quite obsessed with social media. There's a lot of peer pressure to prove themselves to as successful persons, good looking, because there's a lot of social media pressure. Yeah. So, whereas when we look at Neem Karoli Baba's teaching, he does not teach any complex life hack.
No.
What I have read and what I have understood from his messages, he just say love people, feed people, serve people.
Yeah.
That's a very simple message he has spread. So, do you think your movie would be able? How are you planning to put forward this message if you want to connect with youth? So, how does your movie relate to this simplicity? Because there's nothing a big hack what he suggested do this or nothing
Absolutely. Yep.
ritualistic. So, how are you planning to put forward this simple message for Gen Z?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Baba himself never used to say this. He
Yeah.
just used to, sorry,
Mm.
he just used to, do it as his action,
Yeah.
and that's what we know about him. Serve people, love people,
Mm.
and say God's name. And what we're trying to do via this film is just follow that. Just follow what Baba, believed in, and he, you know, taught the other people around him. And in fact, we visited Vrindavan for our poster reveal. Where he has his Mahasamadhi, and there's an ashram there. We got the opportunity to meet some people who have spent time with him. And just listening to his stories, and when with the passion and the energy that you can hear it with, and that I have obviously watched the film. We've made the film together, and I just reflect that back to my film.
Yeah.
Our film. I don't actually say my film. Our film. um I just see that balance of emotion and that love. And honestly, this film is will connect with every part of the society.
Well, which is really good because having you on board, which is a 21-year-old, you would bring out the element which the younger generation can connect. So I'm really hoping that they would.
No, absolutely. Like the smallest of the things, as you said, that they seek validation. The Gen Zs try to seek validation constantly. Whether it be through TikToks or Reels. And there's this one thing that I don't sort of understand is that when you wake up,
Hmm.
you instantly pick up your phone and
Yeah.
you go
Starts
through reels like
dumb scrolling.
dooms. Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. And I just compare it to a situation where, would you like it if you wake up and 100 people walk into your room and
Yeah.
start sharing their thoughts with you
Yeah.
the first
Yeah.
thing in the morning?
That's a very good perspective. I never thought about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, would anyone like
No.
that to happen?
Yeah.
So that's exactly what happens to us when we start scrolling early in the morning. And
It frames your mind in that way, isn't it?
exactly. At the start of the day, it actually
Yeah.
sets the tone of your day, how productive you will be or what you're going to do the entire day, right? So that's the most important part of the day.
I'm
And
really glad to hear this because you inspire a lot of people.
but and I don't think honestly things out there in the media, some would be authentic,
Yeah.
but I also believe some are just pretending. And people do get carried away just by hearing what everyone's
Yeah.
saying. And nowadays, there was TikTok in Instagram, now there's Chat GPT. Snapchat, Chat GPT. You have people who literally like ask the randoms of the question, like daily questions, just for validation, and Chat GPT is going to say yes to you, and you'll go ahead and do what you want to do, right? But we need to snap out of that. That's not the real world. The real world is actually meeting people, so people experiencing. And I just love how when I visit a mandir and people are chanting and there are kids who are chanting and that kind of energy. So they're not manifesting, they are just being in the present.
Yeah.
And that's a very beautiful thing that I've noticed. And I would genuinely want Gen Zs to come more out there to be connected, because everyone's a little disconnected, and they're also scared of getting connected, in terms of to people, or a lot of other things, and they are battling with a lot of these different emotions. But just to be out there and just to have that belief. And as again, I'm just coming back to what Baba believes in, that you do something with pure intent, surrender and remember God, and serving people and feeding people is the bare minimum that one could do. And we have the opportunity to host a bhandara, which is a feast, exactly where Baba used to host his bhandaras. And
Yeah. Okay.
in Vrindavan, at the Mahasamadhi, where we went for a poster reveal. And it was a true blessing, to witness this. And it was a different energy altogether, because when we went there, uh we decided, though, we never did any of those glitz and glam and all of that. So we just want to follow Baba's path, that's it. And we want to tell that story to the world. And we did exactly that, and we felt like some immense energy, because we were sitting right outside the room that he used to reside in, Vrindavan. And it was an amazing experience.
So, have you been to Kanchi Dham?
Yes, I've been to
How was
Kefri.
your experience?
I honestly can't even explain, because okay, so I'll tell you what exactly happened. So I got the opportunity to visit Kechidam twice this year within 2 months. And they say that it's a calling. When Baba calls you, you'll go.
Yeah.
So I went for the first time in February, and it was raining really heavily. And it is north, it's got to be
Yeah.
cold.
It's cold. Yeah.
And we were a little worried, because we had a lot of things planned for the day as well. But the second we reached there, there was sun.
Wow.
And we had certain things planned, with the press and stuff outside. And everything just worked out well. And the second I entered, and they say that 25,000 people come every day. I was literally standing in front of Baba for 5 minutes, and I was levitating.
Wow.
Like, I was in a different zone. And you know how people say that some of your questions that you have in life are answered in some way or the other, and your life kind of changes, but you can't explain how it's changed. But you feel that energy, you soak it in, and later on you feel like it's changed in some way or the other. So I felt that the energy immense. Like I'm literally getting goosebumps right now thinking about it. And then I got the opportunity to go last month to catch them again. And we got the opportunity to recite the Hanuman Chalisa there with the one of the trustees in Kachidam. But it was I can't even explain, how great of an experience it was.
So, as you mentioned, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, Larry Brilliant, these they're very powerful CEOs running a huge company. They didn't go to business school when the company was not performing well, or when they have to take a big decision. They went to Catchy Dham.
Exactly.
They found their answers in
Yeah.
Catchy Dham. So, what is that in Catchy Dham? You mentioned your experience.
Yeah.
So, a person from Western mindset. We all, I mean, I was born in India. I presume you're born in India as well. So we have that spiritual connection or spark in us. But how somebody like millions, but not millions, thousands of miles away, um, they can come and experience that. So tell us what is that Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg? I think Mark Zuckerberg very recently talked about it with Prime Minister Modi about his experience, and he was guided by Steve Jobs to go there.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, to visit. So,
Mm.
what is there in Kachidham that brings so many people?
So the fact that Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, Julia Roberts, Larry Brilliant, to name a few, um, they all visited Kechiram. They spent some time over there, and they kind of got clarity and direction in what they were looking for. And except Larry Brilliant, the others didn't even meet Baba because Baba had left his body in 73, and Steve Jobs had just probably a few weeks after Baba passed his body, he visited Kachi Dham, and that was before he came up with Apple. And he spent a couple of weeks over there, and he just says that he sort of gained a perspective of the world from the outside, like a different perspective, because when you go there, there's nothing materialistic over there. It's just being in the present.
Be there,
Be there.
be here. Also.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Be there, be around people, serve the people who need, help. And again, just I keep coming back to Baba's
Yeah.
teachings, Um and then that just clears your mind up, and then that gives you clarity and direction in what you want to do.
Yeah.
And that's
We
when
give a different perspective because
Exactly.
if you're too much into something.
Hmm.
For example, if you're working on a project and I'm not getting what I want, then I just go for a walk. Your mind changes, you get clarity. So these spiritual places have those energies, which gives you different perspective, which you don't get when you're just working on your. So I tell you my experience how I got this photo and how I got to know Neem Karoli Baba. Do you know Hanuman Das?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So I would say Hanuman Das is a very good friend of mine. Is like brother, and he started Go Dharmic, which is inspired by Neem Karoli Baba's teaching, love all, feed all. I'm another trustee, and he is the living example of what Neem Karoli Baba would really do. So I've had a lot of conversation with Hanuman, and he has given me his name. Hanuman Das was given by Ram Das. You know Ram Das?
Of course, I
Yes.
know Ramdas. Yes.
So, I mean, a very interesting story Hanuman told me about is he was an investment banker, and once he uh, visited Ram Das, and he just mesmerized with just simple Hanuman Chalisa, and he learned it like in a day or so because he was not speaking Hindi at that time. So he learned Hanuman Chalisa, and then from Ram Das he got to know about Neem Karoli Baba, and message was clear that just go and serve. So he started with just bunch of bananas. He saw people. There's a lot of poverty in London, as you can see. So he just started serving, distributing bananas, and now Godhamik is a very big charity with huge presence, and we have hundreds of distributions and thousands of volunteers. So it's all blessing of Neem Karoli Baba, which is amazing. So yeah, Hanuman Das, I would say, is one of the UK's
Yeah,
example of
absolutely.
Neem Karoli Baba.
And it's so beautiful to see how people like Hanuman Das, Ram Das, Krishna Das have actually taken his teachings, the most simplest things, and they've got like all over the world. They made it global,
Yeah.
and all thanks to them that everyone is still working and walking on the path of Baba, and this is honestly so beautiful to see and to hear.
Yeah, definitely. So, we talked about Krishna Das. I mean, his bhajans and his singing is mesmerizing.
Absolutely.
You just go so much deep when you listen to Krishna Das. I watch a lot of his podcasts and bhajans,
Yeah.
and he performs Hanuman Chalisa every year for Hanuman Jayanti for Go Dharmik, wherever he is, it virtually or physically if it's possible.
Yeah.
So, how did you reach out to uh,
Krishna.
Krishna Das, and how did you convince him to be part of this movie? And what is his role? Tell us more about your connection with Krishna Das.
Absolutely. So I will say I don't have a role in it. I give absolute credit to one of our producers, Namrata Singh ji. She, with all devotion and passion, she wanted this to happen, and this was her project since day one. And she reached out to Krishna Das ji, to his team, and he was so graceful to give us two of his chants to use in our film, and his chants are they have this aura,
Yeah.
you know like I would have seen a scene, like a 20-second scene in my film, with and without his chant, and there's complete difference.
Seriously.
Absolutely. And then I think it's this neurological thing that the chants that you keep hearing repeatedly, um it kind of gives you that calmness, and then you forget about whatever you're thinking about otherwise, and then you get connected with yourself, and we're so fortunate to have him on board with these two chants.
And
And
he given some music and has.
so he's given us Sitaram, and he has given us Om Namah Shivaya, the two
Wow.
very famous chants of his. And his videos are amazing. You see a lot of foreigners
Yeah.
jamming to it, and
Yeah.
when, if you would have seen in the church,
Yes.
he's performing this,
Yeah.
and it's
And
fabulous.
Virat Kohli and Anushka Sharma sitting there with this Hanuman Das.
Absolutely.
I've seen that. Yeah, it's amazing that you convinced. You and Navita convinced that.
No, I also think that things are meant to happen, and it's all Baba's grace. The right timing, the right people connecting with each other, and I feel even today, you and I sitting here together in
It's
Edinburgh,
Baba's.
it's Baba's grace, honestly.
Yeah.
The fact
Yeah.
that the dates have aligned so beautifully,
Exactly.
and I was so excited when I got to know that, oh my god, this is going to be in Edinburgh. The first day I literally landed today, I was like, I have to meet you today and
No,
get this
definitely,
done. So I was
yeah.
so excited for this. But yeah, I do believe in
Yeah.
the perfect timing, and there's this divine energy which is controlling everything. Again,
Yeah.
I come back to Baba's Leelas.
Yeah.
So we're all living in it, and he's amongst us, and he's blessing us.
So I've heard Krishna Das podcast where he has driven Baba
Yeah.
in and around
Around,
to Prayagraj for Kumbh Mela and other places, and he has told about some amazing chamatkars or miracles which Baba used to do, and he doesn't need to give lectures or pravachans. It's just simple things, I remember a couple of things where he mentioned about a temple where a priest was not very kind to kids. He used to just say, "Go away, go away." Krishna Das mentioned this in one of the podcast, and when Baba Newkari Baba arrived to the temple, and he just went to Baba and said that we are not having kids. He's almost like was 40 plus, and they didn't have any kids. Baba said he didn't know anything about this, and he said that the way you treat kids, you'll never have kids. Start welcoming the kids, and it's a Krishna's temple, and he said Krishna Bhagwan was himself a Bal Krishna, and you're not welcoming Bal until you do that. And since then, he did welcomed kid, and within a year they had kids.
Beautiful.
So this is, and there's several things which I heard about Baba's Leela, and there's another story Krishna Das mentioned, that Baba being present two places at the same time,
Yes,
which is
yes.
which is
Oh my God.
unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. In fact, I had visited Vrindavan and I got the opportunity to talk to Dinesh ji, who's the Pandit at the Vrindavan Mahasamadhi, uh, at his ashram, and his initial years, like till this 7 or 10 years, he has spent with Baba, and he said that when his daughter was getting married in Agra, people say that he had gone to Agra for the rituals, but people say that he was still seen in Vrindavan at the same time. And I have heard this from the people who have, yeah, exactly. And and I've heard this from the people who have lived through that entire journey. And I think again it's very divine. You only get to witness such things and such people once in a lifetime, and again, that's the reason people used to think about him as an avatar of Hanumanji, and then again we come back to our film that is Hanuman
Yeah,
Arjun.
that's why I tell my daughters that
Yeah.
if there is, if God is there, miracle is there. If there's no miracle, there's no God. So this, even I have witnessed so many miracles in my life, where I come from, where I am today. It's a miracle. My life itself is a miracle. So going back to your movie, so tell us more about uh, where did you shoot it, the movie, all the logistics, and who is taking part in it, and did you felt any divine intervention or any problem, which, because you're doing a spiritual movie,
Yes.
I've heard a lot of spiritual movie has some divine blessings. So tell us any interesting stories about Hanumanansh, and what did you felt about Baba's blessings in the movie? Yeah.
Not some. We have had, I can't even count at this point how many spiritual and divine things that have happened to us. But just to start with, where we shot the film, we shot the film in Chitrakoot, Ramji's Dharti. He had gone for Vanvas to Chitrakoot, so we felt that that was the perfect place to shoot the film, as Hanumanji was the greatest bhakt of Ramji, and Neem Baba was the greatest bhakt of Hanumanji. Um, and we There were a lot of problems. I mean, during shooting, no shooting was flawless, honestly. And our director and the writer of our film, Vishal Chaturvedi ji, he is phenomenal, and the way he has carried out everything, the planning, pre-production, post-production, and the shooting on the location was fabulous. But there's some stories that he has told me that has stuck with me.
Vishal.
Which, yeah, so there was this one story where they had to make a digger cave
Hmm.
where Baba used to go and do his tapasya.
Right.
And in that village, there were no langurs or bandars, monkeys were ever spotted
Right.
for a couple of years. And the day that they had done the inauguration of the cave for the shooting, there comes a langur, and he has the puri and sabji of the bandara that was hosted by the team, and he has fully gone inside. He has had a look. He has come out. And then that day we had done the sthapna of the Hanumanji's Murti. And then there's a beautiful shot. When you guys will see it, you will have goosebumps. I mean, I still get goosebumps when I watch it. And there is presence of that monkey behind with the bandara's puri sabji. And all of these things just make you feel that, okay, God is with you.
Yes.
He's looking out, and you just do your best. And we honestly did our best. Vishalji has done a phenomenal job with the help of the entire team. During the shooting, but also even post, a lot of beautiful things that happened. um in fact, I would like to share one story that has happened with me personally. Is when we were going for the poster reveal to Vrindavan. So we had landed in Delhi and we were 60 kilometers into our journey. And in the middle of the highway, our car breaks down.
Right.
And we're like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? And then somehow I just think that, oh, let me just open the Uber app and I'll
Yeah.
see if there's a car.
Yeah.
And I apply my request, and then eventually it gets accepted, and I get a call from the driver, and he says that, oh, I can see you, I'm taking a U-turn, and I'll be there. We were like, perfect, that's amazing. And then we put our stuff in, and being the kid of the group, because I'm the youngest of all, so I was sitting in the middle, and we settle in, and I just see this picture hanging
Abnim Kaviyo.
of me Kuri Baba
Wow.
with Hanumanji at the back of it. And I froze. First, I thought I was hallucinating because we're talking so much about him, we're reading about him, and we're that's our daily conversation. And then I asked the driver Ji that is this Neepuri Baba? Do you believe in him? And he was like, yeah, I have a great bhakt, and so does my mother. We have visited Keshi Dham, and all of that. He was telling us. And what was even more interesting was that he never did any intercity travels. So he got a request 5 minutes before
Oh, wow.
us, and he rejected it.
Yeah.
And he said that when I got your request, he thought that, oh, they're in need. I kind of need to be there for them. And then he showed up, and then he took us to Vrindavan. He stayed with us, and and you could see that bhakti.
Yeah.
Just with the connect of Baba, you could see that he went out of his way. So like these, like, if you don't see this as
Miracles.
yeah,
The
miracles,
miracles are everywhere. You
yeah,
just have to
so
witness it.
exactly, like that's the perspective that
Yeah,
we go
yeah,
with.
yeah.
And again, then it just keeps getting me back to believing more and more, and it gives me that motivation to walk on his path, of his simple teachings.
Yeah.
But
I think you are following a lot of, because as per conversation as of now, you're so humble and you're always giving credit to everyone who deserve it. Instead of not saying everything is you, you're giving credit to your producer, director, everyone. So which shows that you are imbibing all those teaching of Neem Karoli Baba in your life. And talking about Chitrakoot, so my dad told me about a story when Hanumanji wanted Tulsi Das ji to meet her Ramchandra ji. So he arranged this thing, and in the hearts of Chitrakoot, Tulsidas ji was, doing the Chandan, and
yeah,
Ramchandra ji came in another roop,
yeah,
and Tulsidas is putting Chandan, and he's about to walk away. Then I think Hanumanji is sitting somewhere at the top of the tree, and he said that this was Chitrakoot ke ghat par bhai santan ki bhir, Tulsidas Chandan kise tilak kare Raghubir. So then he said, okay, he's Ram, he just fell in his feet. So very amazing. I mean, so yeah, I mean, Hanumanji is present everywhere, they say, isn't it? Yeah. So tell me about Hanuman Chalisa. It's such a simple verse, but make you connect it so much. And Neem Karoli Baba has always talked about Hanuman Chalisa as one of the things.
yeah.
So what is your personal experience being with Hanuman Chalisa?
Yeah. It has honestly been life changing, because there have been times where, I'm having a headache, or, I'm not having a great time. And yeah, even recently, there was a time where it was really difficult for me to figure some things out in my life. And I have just recited the Hanuman Chalisa, and just magically that pain, that negative thought, or whatever negativity I'm going through or is around me, it just vanishes. And like I have witnessed it, I have felt it, so I can say it. It's beautiful, and I would recommend everyone to actually recite the Hanuman Chalisa. Now it's a part of my routine, and a lot of my friends have also kind of started listening to it, and they also have told me about the effects that they have had in their life
Wow.
by reciting that.
Yeah, I think it's an amazing verse Tulsidas ji has
Yeah.
prepared, which is still relevant and in this current Masoran. So, so, so the world is going through a major crisis right now. Emergence of AI and war everywhere, trade war, physical war.
Yeah.
So, what is one tip you want to give to, especially to youngster, to keep peace within themselves and not being affected what's going around them? So, what is the message you want to give?
So I feel like the war that is happening, eventually there is some sort of political misunderstanding or some debate about that. But I feel eventually people are trying to seek for inner peace, right? And I feel that just trying to, believe in yourself
Mm.
and again, surrendering in what you do, just do your best, honestly, because people tend to overthink a lot, especially in this generation. But the best that you can do is just do whatever you can do in your power and then let rest, just let it up to Baba, to God. And I also, there's this one great saying in Hindi that Baba was also used to believe in, and my Nana ji also used to say कि नेकी कर और कुएं में डाल,
Yeah.
है ना? So that means that you do good deeds and
Without expecting the results of
yeah,
the benefit of
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Because I think expectation is a huge barrier in this generation, because people just do things and expect things in return, and that shouldn't be the case. You should just do good and move on. And Baba's watching, God is watching, and I do believe in karma. And every good people, good things happen.
Yeah, that's what we say, go dharmic. The karma word has become so popular. Thanks to Taylor Swift as well. It's about the numbers, karma. But now we need to make dharma popular as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So this is what we are working towards, to spread dharma, to spread love. Have you started working on the part two, the chapter two of it, or is it?
So we've done the Jai Shri Ram of it.
Okay.
We have kind of started a little bit of it, just as a shagun ka, how you say.
Yeah.
But we're really excited for this film to come out and see the response of it and the love that it gets, and that'll motivate us even more. To pour double the love and double of efforts for the second and the third one.
I think the Neem Karoli Baba's devotees are increasing day by day. I see people are understanding the love of Neem Karoli Baba. And I'm sure this would resonate with a lot of his bhakts all around the globe. So Mark Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs would not have done what Apple is today or Facebook is today if they have not been to Neem Karoli Baba. So I wish you all the best. Anupriya, I hope your movies become super hit and people watch it and learn from it, and they also watch the upcoming episodes. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Puneetji. Thank you. Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.
So to every student who is watching this in their dorm room or in your tube or in the library, so your ambition is your superpower. But your mental state is what takes you to places. So Anupriya is just 21-year-old, and I had an amazing time. I mean, her maturity level is quite higher than me, I would say. So do me a favor, if you really enjoyed this podcast, I would like you to share with your friends. We just wanted to spread the love and promote her upcoming movie, which I'm sure will be fantastic. Thank you so much, Anupriya.
Thank you so much.
Namaste.